feel that's what I've just done, is confessed a lot. I'm Lizzie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing the book buying tag and I was tagged by Mandy from Oh It's Mandy. I'll link to her channel below. So without further ado, here we go. Question number 1. I buy most of my books from, well, I buy them from a mixture of places really. I do a lot of shopping online just because I find that sometimes, well, it's easier to do so when I've got a really busy life. I just scroll through and click, click, click and everything I want, and then within a couple of days it's there. But nothing beats going to a bookshop, whether it's a small independent bookshop or even something like Waterstones, just sort of wandering around and choosing books. I don't think anything really beats buying books that way. I have pre-ordered a couple of books previously, and usually I do it online just because it's just easy to do it. So I haven't pre-ordered a book in store for ages. I think the last book in store I pre-ordered was, it was a poetry book, and it was about 10 years ago. So yeah, I don't know what that says about me. Online most of the time. That's where I get into a little bit of trouble because I've got a really bad habit. I just keep buying books at the moment. So I couldn't even tell you how many, well, I can tell you how many books I bought in January, but this is because I got vouchers for Christmas. So I bought 30 books online. Actually, not just online, I bought 30 online and then I bought another 5 in shops and antique shops. So 35 books in January. Wow. I guess that's my year's reading sorted out. This week I'm moving, so I'm definitely going to be signing up to my local library in the new area. Long story short, a couple of years ago I was living in Australia and I lived in a place in Western Australia for the first year and a half of my trip, and I used to spend so much time in the library there. It was such a great library. I would basically spend every afternoon there. I mean, it was too hot for me a lot of the time, so I was like, where am I going to go? So I used to just hide in the library. I can't tell you how many books I read there, and most of them were all crime thrillers. So if you ask me how a crime thriller ends, I can pretty much tell you without reading it. Sometimes I could sit in that library and read a book from cover to cover in an afternoon because you're in the zone in the library, I find. But usually I borrow sort of 3 or 4 per week. I had a lot of time on my hands, so I was reading a lot. I love library books. I think that libraries are a very important part of our culture. I was an avid library goer, or have been for years, as in right from when I was a kid. I remember the excitement of going to the library, like, oh, it's Tuesday night, we're going to the library. And our village was so small and we had this tiny library in a room that was basically just like a front room, but it was, oh, I loved it. And I always remember I did this terrible thing. I got this science encyclopedia and it was over the summer, and I loved science at the time, and I used to sit out in our garden and the sun was shining, and this is in the days where the summer was always there, and I was reading my science book and my mum called us in for a dinner and I left it there thinking, you know, it would all be fine. And of course the great British weather decided to pour and I ruined the library book, and I remember the fear I had of having to go and tell the librarian what had happened. It was not my finest hour, but yes, libraries, I love them. I can't wait till I have my own house and I can turn it into a massive library. I don't see them as any less than brand new books. In fact, sometimes I love getting really old books or second-hand books because I think of who's owned them before and whether they liked it. And actually I got one, I'll have to dig it out and show you, not so long ago I got, I think I showed it in my last video actually, it's an Invisible Man, just a copy of The Invisible Man, and there's a little note inside and they've sort of annotated what they like about the book, and I just think that's really, you know, it's over 100 years old, this copy, and there's writing in it about if they enjoyed the book or not, and I just think that there's stories beyond stories within books if they're secondhand, and I really like that kind of feeling. I mean, I do love a brand new book when you open it for the first time and you hear the spine bend and things like that, but I really, I love secondhand books as well. I keep my to be read pile pretty much all in the same place. It's actually a pile, it's not on a shelf at the moment because I'm in the middle of moving, so all my books are stacked up. It looks ridiculous. I really am looking forward to getting into my new flat and having a nice big bookshelf. But yeah, most of them are in a pile, and I try and make my way through them. But I find that I'm not very disciplined, because I have my TBR pile, but I might see another book that I like or might buy, and then I suddenly start reading that. So yeah, I need to be a bit more regimented with my TBR list, I think. I do plan to read all of the books that I own. You may have seen in my 2015 New Year's resolutions, 25 books that every girl should read, according to Lisa Simpson. That's my challenge for this year, and I've bought them all. That was my big book haul in January, plus obviously more. So yes, I really plan to read every book that I own. Maybe even twice. No, that's setting myself a ridiculous challenge. I'm gonna read them. Most of the time I give them a fair go. I've only had a couple of instances where I've really disliked a book so much that I just haven't carried on with it. Don't know if I'll get into trouble for saying this, but I didn't carry on with the Divergent series. I liked the first book, but it wasn't like something like The Hunger Games for me, where it's like, oh, I have to get everything and read it straight away, because I was just obsessed with that sort of, the story and the way it was written. So I don't know, I have them and they sit on my shelf, and I keep thinking to myself, I will read them one day, but sometimes I think it's good to have a bit of a clear out, so I often lend books or give books as a friendly gesture, or take them to the charity shop. I have donated books, yes. I donated books at Christmas for Great Ormond Street. I think books are something that everybody should have in their life, and some people either are not in a fortunate enough position to be able to get hold of books. You know, you can borrow books from libraries and things like that, but something really special about having a book, you know, especially if it's one or two that you really treasure. Yes, so I do donate books from time to time. No, I haven't been on a book buying ban, but I think after recording this video and listening to myself, I might have to put one in. No more books, Elizabeth, until you have read every single book on your shelf, which is probably going to be the next 3 years worth, but yeah, I think I need to do it. I've seen a lot of booktubers actually impose book buying bans, or sort of giving themselves incentives, so every 5 books I read I can buy another one, but I think I need some help. So any suggestions on how to curb my book spending would be greatly welcomed. Please let me know in the comments below. I think I might buy too many books. I mean, yes and no. I'm going to read them all, so in my opinion that's not buying too many, because I'm buying them for a purpose. But in theory it's easy to sit there and say, yep, definitely going to buy these next 100 books and read them all, but I'm still getting books through the post or going to the bookshop, and my pile is going dit 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 rather than do 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 do. So yeah, I don't know, I'll let you guys be the judge of that, perhaps I do. Anyway, thank you so much to Mandy for tagging me in this tag. I really had fun recording it and confessing, because I feel that's what I've just done, is confessed a lot. Please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and as always I love reading your comments, so please let me know what you think below. Thank you so much for watching, I will see you next time, happy reading!